There's almost nothing I enjoy eating more than food. But with all my money going on fancy snot rags, it's getting harder to afford groceries. Now Woolies has the answer.
You told us you want change. So at Woolworths, we're making changes to help you fill your basket for less. You'll now find lower shelf prices on hundreds of products. And because lower shelf prices stay lower for longer, it's a change you'll see at the checkout. Lower shelf prices. It's a fresh commitment to you from the fresh food people.
Fun fact, they save money by stealing those arrows from Coles. But let's talk about lower shelf prices. Woolies sells 20,000 products and has lowered the price on 400 of them. So maybe you should lower your expectations. Instead of the red arrows, they should have gone with this. Russell, why is this offer so shellfish?
Oh, do you know what I love? I love the fact that the consumers, the public, we actually do punish brands. So if you go back to the pandemic times, Coles and Woolworths, they were seen as the most trusted brands in the country. And then if you have a look at the trust index now, well, that's not so much the case. So the consumers really do watch what's going on with regard to brands and corporations, and of course they watch price as well. So the very idea that 400 of 20,000 is going to be enough in order to reverse, the brand trend, well, that's unlikely to be the case. Also, of course, they're dealing with, as is Coles, they're dealing with some ACCC issues with illusionary pricing. So that, of course, that's going to really affect trust as well. And I've been thinking about this. I think it's missing. How do you bring back trust? I don't think you bring back trust by doing sort of traditional advertising. You've got to find a way to reflect the joy that you ought to be having by feeding Australia at a very low price. It's core to who and what you are. You've got to get your values right? So the notion of value every day. We are going to provide value every day for the Australian public, and we're going to celebrate the fact that we do that, and we're going to give them something enjoyable to watch, and as a result, they will reward the advertiser.
This is an incredible ripoff. So Coles down positioned themselves during the price wars as the sort of the value brand, and they did it quite well. This, to me, feels sort of deceptive, less like a price strategy, more like a perception strategy, because they're saying they're not guaranteeing anything. They're saying lower shelf prices. So that seems like a smokescreen, semantics. So what does that mean? Lowest prices on what? For how long? When? We don't know that. But what we do know is that Coles spent millions of dollars conditioning us that red, arrows pointing down, and when you see lower, it means value. And they literally have just grabbed it and used it. And to me, it seems like they're trying to trick us from a perception point of view to make us think that they're our friends because they're helping us out, some kind of altruism in the cost of living crisis. They're there just to sort of help us out. But what they're really doing is getting the value perception without it dramatically impacting their margin or their bottom line.
Yeah, but what we need to have, again, is we need to go back to having advertising war. There was an advertising war. Woolworths versus Coles. They spent tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars on various ways to persuade us that they were bringing their prices down. And they were legit bringing their prices down.
But the thing with this is neither Woolworths nor Coles are the cheapest supermarket. Like Aldi clearly is, and that's really blatantly obvious. And Aldi doesn't advertise on price most of the time. They're actually advertising on fun and a whole load of other quirky stuff that they go with.
Yeah, and in the supermarket wars, I think Aldi will fight dirty.
I mean, Woolworths have taken a huge risk with this because they've called it out and said you will notice it at the till. And that is, unless you are buying from that 400 product range that actually has been reduced, you will not see that at the till.
I think it's interesting that they open with that kind of we listened sentiment. Like you've said something, this is us listening. And then this really bizarrely happy family runs in.
You know what the least convincing part of the ad for me is the little kid who's putting the love heart in the, and the employee is like, oh, isn't this charming, knowing I'm going to have to clean that. You annoying little shit. That's the freezer. That's meant to be closed, mate.